Park, how are we feeling today? Permit me to recognize this evening Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, Tobago East, Member of Parliament, Honorable Ayanna Webster Roy, Tobago West, Member of Parliament, Ms. Shamfa Ashaki Kojo, Minister Responsibilities for Sport and Culture, Community Development. I recognize our young and very dynamic Chief Secretary, Mr. Ansel Dennis, and the prospective candidate for Buku Mount Pleasant, members of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Vice Chairman Dion Isaac, General Secretary Yolanda Beckles. I also want to recognize former Ambassador, former Chief Secretary, and the former political leader, Mr. Orville London, who is in our midst. And of course, members of the PNM who have come from near and far to be a part of this evening's ceremony and the presentation of candidates. I say good evening to all of you. And of course, I cannot leave out the online viewers and those who are looking in from overseas as well. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. The People's National Movement is in fact ready to continue to govern this island called Tobago in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And so I want to say this evening that I am ecstatic and I'm very excited to be here with you this evening for the PNM's launch of its December 6th Tobago House of Assembly elections campaign. And so this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Tobagonians, wherever you are, the boys on the block, the fishermen, and of course our women out there, I speak to you this evening as a proud Tobagonian, coming from the belly and from the bosom of Tobago. And of course, all of you who knew me as a child would tell you how quiet, but how focused I was. I was always a thinker. I was always the young person who would ask questions, reading, attending church, and of course, staying out of trouble, which was a must for us because I come from very strict parents. Around 2000, I did not know what my life would be like, although I was enrolled at the University of the West Indies at the time. But the defining moment came after listening to a speech by the then Prime Minister Patrick Manning. And suddenly it dawned on me that I knew what I wanted to do, because Mr. Manning at that time was talking about the history of the country. He was talking about the future envisioned by the People's National Movement. And I, Tracy Davidson at the time, was inspired. I knew then that I had found my calling. PNM would become the road I would travel to help and to serve the island of Tobago and its now 60,000 resilient residents. Truth be told, nobody understood then, and they still don't understand today, why I have chosen politics. But an opportunity arose, and let me express my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Orville London, former Chief Secretary, for giving me that opportunity to be the politician that I am for today. And so I stand in front of all of you in this audience here this evening. I am humbled. I stand in front of all Tobagonians at this time, 21 years later. Yes, you could work out my age if you want. But I stand before you 21 years later, having worked my way up the ranks, as it were. And so I stand proud and humbled as a leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, an organization that has come a long way and one that is changing before our very eyes. And you have heard from some of our speakers who have gone before me how the People's National Movement has changed. But I stand humble that the responsibility is mine once again to lead all of these candidates, all 14 of them, into victory at the polls on December 6, 2021. Give all of them a hearty round of applause. And I want to say to all of Tobago this evening that I, Tracy Davidson Celestine, I have no intention to hide behind anyone. I have no intention to engage any proxy, nor do I have any intention to hoodwink the people of this island called Tobago. As a matter of fact, we know that the PNM going into this election and who the leader is. But can we say that for the other side? They have to pretend that they are not the leader and they have to hide out. And we as Tobagonians must ask ourselves the question why. Because at the end of the day, we must not take any chances. We ought to ensure that we protect our future. And so, ladies and gentlemen, all of Tobago, it is time that we ask ourselves, why is it that there are such stark differences, stark internal differences on the other side? And so this evening, I stand here to ask your hand in support of a different future than we had ever imagined. And so for me, it is a future where we didn't know that our loved ones might leave our lives unexpectedly. It is a future where children would be forced away from school classrooms, education, and even their friends, or one where they have been for almost 2 years without touch and sight of even friendly faces. It is a future where we have seen how they have lost the comfort and security of food, jobs, and even homes. And all of this because of an enemy that has made us feel helpless and, in fact, homeless. And so, people of Tobago, this COVID has made us either hit the reset button or it has caused us to hide out. But I want to say to all of you this evening that we in the People's National Movement have chosen to hit the reset button. And we are no longer what we used to be, you and me. Just look at our candidates here tonight. The young, the not so young, experienced men and women of the land. All candidates are people on the ground. These are the faces of the future of Tobago that I offer all of you here tonight. And so the day that we selected every woman and man on this slate was the day that the People's National Movement shifted gears. And so we have different ideas, we have different opinions, and that is the beauty of the diversity in the People's National Movement. And more so, most importantly, we all have one shared vision for this island called Tobago. And so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the people of Tobago, our army of PNM generals. We and they are putting everything on the line for you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let us show our candidates some love. Let us show our candidates that they are worthy of our respect and more so our appreciation. Let us give to them a hearty round of applause. And so now more than ever, we need to band together to protect and to preserve what we hold dear. And I'm talking about this land called Tobago. We have to move heaven and earth to recover, to secure and to protect this land, 60,000 resilient persons. We need to band together to rise up from our brutal COVID losses and to build new pathways to a people-centered future. This is what it's all about. This is a future where women and men are not held hostage to COVID job loss, where single moms and dads have the support to succeed with free education and training, and of course, free childcare, where 3,000 jobs, 2,000 housing lots, and paid apprenticeship programs, and where hundreds of business opportunities with funding for expansion and startups can be accessed, and where, of course, home ownership with land and affordable low-income mortgages will lift our young people to do more with their lives. Where new airport, hotels, airlines, farms, agro-processing, tourism services, green energy such as solar power, environmental protection, solutions to land titles, information and technology will shift this island to a path to sustainability. This is not a future, ladies and gentlemen, about chaos and about bacchanal and kankatang and big empty promises. This is about people and respecting their intelligence, most importantly. Recovery from the brutal COVID losses is a huge challenge, and it will be an uphill battle, but it's not impossible, my friends. And so for me and for all of us in the People's National Movement, our vision is simple, and our vision is very clear, because we see a pathway for well-diversified, sustainable, environmentally friendly Tobago. We see a Tobago that is driven largely by the private sector, with a healthy workforce, with healthy citizens. Because at the end of the day, I know that we are small, but at the same time, with Talawa. And so, ladies and gentlemen, people of Tobago, there is no confusion of vision on this side. We have been very clear, Vision 2020 and counting. But when we look on the other side, we have to ask ourselves, what is their vision and who really leads it? Inside the other party, they have very chaotic differences in ideologies, in philosophies. And so you have to ask yourselves, what is really going on the other side? Is it that the political leader in hiding, or is it the posse deputy political leader who is calling the shots? We don't know. We have to ask ourselves the question. Because I am sure you have heard it. When their political leader is talking about cessation and independence from Trinidad, his deputy speaks about federalism. And who are you to believe? And so when they really stand for nothing, they expect you, the people of Tobago, to fall for anything. And this is what it's all about. And so, Tobagonians, we are more intelligent than that. We are more intelligent. We are to pay attention to what is happening on the other side and make reasoned decisions, and more so intelligent decisions. I know that we are hurting right now. I know that the people of Tobago have felt the impact of COVID-19. But in this election, we are not going to add to your pain, because this election, as far as I see it, is the first step towards returning to a wholesome life. This is what it's all about. And so I would have to ask you the question at the end of the day, do you want to risk all of that for another party at a time where people are looking for stability? But for me, my work and your energy makes me come alive. Public service is my purpose. This is what I was made for. This is my calling. And that is why the PNM struck a chord with me at the age of 22, a chord that became my song of songs. And so as a public person, I have experienced the good, I have experienced the bad, and I experienced the ugly almost every day. But I must admit at the end of the day that there have been times when I just wanted to run and make a life elsewhere. I really didn't need the negativity, nor did I need the lies and the innuendos and even the verbal abuse. But one thing, ladies and gentlemen, has kept me grounded, and that is you, the people of Tobago. And so, this evening, Tobago, my motivation has never been about office, but to ensure that the things that I've encountered on my journey can be implemented here to ensure that we have all lived comfortably. And I want to say tonight that in my journey, I have traveled near and I've traveled far. And so I come to you on this day with a message of hope. It might seem a strange message at the end of the day, since all around us, ladies and gentlemen, we have been hearing, we have been feeling doom and gloom for so many months. But I just want to say that I am hopeful. I just want to say that I am confident that we can overcome all of the challenges that we face. And so I say this not because I want it to be true, but because I have seen the signs and I have heard the word. And the signs and the word all say that we, the people of Tobago, can face up to the darkest of reality and dispel it with the light of our courage and, most importantly, our conviction. And I'm not talking about conviction in the court of law, mind you. And so for me, this is an extremely important moment in the history of our island. And so over the next 4 weeks, you, the people of Tobago, will have the opportunity to choose who represents you in your district, and ultimately, who represents you in the Tobago House of Assembly. Your choice could not be clearer. You have a tried and tested party offering candidates all known to their communities as persons who are capable and, most importantly, as persons who are committed. We have none here with criminal charges dangling over their heads. We are who we say we are. And so we have faith in all of you, the people of Tobago. Why do we have this faith? Because the people of Tobago have lived through far more turbulent times, yet you have always survived, and we have thrived. And so more than 3 centuries ago, this island, with a population back then of just over 8,000 persons, was one of the most productive islands in the entire region. We grew cotton and indigo until these crops were eventually replaced by sugar. By the early 20th century, with a population of just over 17,000, we as a small island exported sugar. We exported molasses, coconuts, cocoa, and even livestock. Tobago was so prosperous that even with such a small population, that the island had 2 banks, the Colonial Bank and also the Royal Bank of Canada. After the PNM is returned to govern the Tobago House of Assembly on December 6, 2021, I want to say to all of you this evening that one of our first acts will be the push for autonomy. Yes, and we have been pushing for that for day one. We will do what it takes to ensure that Tobago gets the legislative authority that it deserves. We will push to ensure that there is the foundation for critical change. And I know, because I felt it, we were all pained by the outcome when the opposition and its Tobago partners saw it fit to deny 60,000 Tobagonians the right to self-determination. But this came on the heels of a leader who continued to call for cessation and independence. And I want to say to all of Tobago tonight that we should not take any chances with them, with our future. Cessation and independence from Trinidad is their #1 priority. Their political leader wants to be prime minister of something. And you have heard it. They talk from all sides of their mouths. Let the other side know, Tobagonians, that we are not buying that. We in the PNM, we have listened and we have heard what you need. I know that we didn't always get it right, but we have, and we always will have your back, as the young people would say. And so for me standing here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we want, as the People's National Movement, to ensure that our entrepreneurs, and I know that we have many on this land, to be the drivers of our economy here in Tobago. What are the ideas, whether it be big or small, whether it be micro, that will improve the lives of our people? That is what I want going forward. We in the Tobago House of Assembly, we need to ensure now that we have laid the foundation for the last 20 years, that we carve out a larger role for the private sector. Because that is how every society has progressed in every part of the world, whether we're talking from Europe to Asia to Africa and even in the Caribbean. And we are already bringing in more foreign investment in this land. We have already started the process to expand and to upgrade our room stock for tourists and for Tobagonians and Trinidad and Tobagonians, because we are focused on ensuring that we see greater investment in agriculture. We are about to start with the modernization of Scarborough to make it a shining Caribbean destination. And I want to say this evening that now is Scarborough's time. And so under the People's National Movement Tobago House of Assembly, our health sector has boasted the highest number of healthcare facilities per capita in the Western Hemisphere. We, Trinidad and Tobago, have been lauded amongst the best of COVID management. And of course, that falls under my ambit as the Secretary for Health in Tobago. I want to advance tonight that our community infrastructure here is second to none, especially when compared with that of the region. I want to advance here this evening that we have created approximately 10,000 jobs by increasing the number of persons with jobs in Tobago from 21,700 to approximately 31,600 today and counting. I want to advance tonight that we have reduced Tobago's unemployment from about 13% in 2001 to under 5% today. Anybody would tell you that that is almost full employment. And few territories of our size can boast of figures like these. I'm sure you have been tuned in to what is happening in the world over. And so we have increased the share of labor force with tertiary education in Tobago to up to about 20% from 7% in 2001. That is PNM style. That is the PNM Tobago House of Assembly administration. And so to all of Tobago, after December 6th, those positive employment figures could easily change, because the other side has indicated that the THA has too many employees. And you are one this evening. They have every intention of having a massive Tobago House of Assembly retrenchment. And so I ask all of you the question tonight: are you willing to take massive risk in job losses? You, the people of Tobago, must answer that question. And if you have answered that question fairly, then you would reason at the end of the day that we are to take no chances. Because at the end of it all, this is about ensuring that we protect our future, that we protect our progress, that we protect the gains that we have made over the last 20 years. And we cannot afford to ensure that those gains are derailed at this point in time. And so, Tobago, this is my political philosophy. An administration must create an enabling environment in which people can thrive, and then have enough faith in the people to let them get on with their work and with their business. This is about people development. Let the people decide how to make their way, and that night follows day, the country will make its way, and the island of Tobago will also make its way. And so for me, it is the people on the ground who know more about what is going on that any official can, including me, and including anybody and everybody on this platform. And that is why every candidate here will tell you that their main duty as a representative of the People's National Movement is to listen. No candidate would be up on this platform if they did not and do not understand the political philosophy. And so we in Tobago, PNM, we have to listen to all the people out there, even those who do not agree with us. In fact, I would say to all of you that we have to listen more to those who do not agree with us. But that is how, at the end of the day, you can find a way that will work best to lift the people of this island. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we will provide the avenues for you to acquire certain skills or knowledge. We will provide the opportunities, the kind that other people will want and pay you for, and then we will get out of your way while you work and while you do your business and prosper. And so, Tobago, tonight, it is for all of these reasons that I come to you with a message of hope, because I know that you are not unfazed. I am not unfazed. I am not discouraged. And I know you know which party, which leader, which candidates are best placed to help you to achieve what you want to protect your future. And so I say to you tonight, let us do this together. I say to you tonight that we got this. I say to you tonight, let us protect our future. And I say to you, People's National Movement people, I say to you, to all of Tobago, let us take no chances. And if we are to reason and make those intelligent decisions, at the end of the day and on December 6, 2021, we will sing in one refrain, as we always do, that great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM. We shall and always will prevail. I thank you, and God richest blessings to each and every one of you.